Fatos, do you want to kind of tell us maybe just a little bit about yourself and your background? And I guess then we can kind of hopefully by then dive into actually the presentation today.
Okay, so I'm Fatos. I'm the founder of Maximize. We are an Amazon listing optimization agency. But sort of brief history going back many years, I studied economics. I went to Cambridge and then went into finance for a bit and then built a business off Amazon. I built a swimwear and lingerie brand, which we sold globally. And then I went into e-commerce sort of quite a bit later in my career and started selling as a private label seller in the US, and then transitioned into service providing just on the listing optimization side. So that's all we do. We don't do PPC, we don't do back-end management. All we do is make listings amazing and make them convert and make money.
Love that. Yeah, which is definitely a challenge. It's not an easy task, right? Like there's, especially nowadays, like there's so much more that goes into listings than when I was getting started and probably when you were getting started too. So I know it's become a much more complex and yeah, I mean, they're changing things in terms of like what you can actually do in ads. So that's cool. I actually didn't know all that in terms of your backstory. I knew you had an Amazon brand, but I didn't know you were doing swimwear as well. So that's really cool. How many listings do you think you guys have like actually done optimization and content for these days?
Well, some projects are multiple SKUs. So we've done projects where we've done 25 separate listings within one project. So it is in the several hundreds. But project sizes vary from doing a single listing to doing, maybe half a dozen to doing multiple sort of tens of listings. But yeah, definitely in the several hundred.
Great. I love that. Cool. Well, I'd love to kind of kick things off then. I appreciate you giving us that backstory. I just want to tell everyone first off that I'm very excited to have Fatos here because this is actually one of the topics that I really like talking about is how can you make those really small tweaks to your listing, whether it's in like the keywords that you're using to optimize the listing or the imagery on your hero images, your A+ content, etc. Because any small change to conversion rate that we can get from bumping those things up is a game changer in terms of what's going to happen with our listing, right? And converting more traffic that comes through. So Fatos and I have known each other for a while. We've talked at the last Prosper in person and have kept in touch for, I guess, a little bit over a year and a half now, which has been really fun. So without further ado, I guess I want to dive right in and turn it over to you, Fatos.
So I have some slides, but also because we're talking sort of visual things, I'll go sort of and show some live listings as well, because it makes it much easier to relate to. So let's do that. So today, this is sort of a general presentation about your visuals. So sometimes I talk about just A+ content or just listing images. This is more of a general kind of overview, looking at the different visual elements of a listing and how important they are. So, we've all heard the expression, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I think that is really, really true. And for an Amazon listing, people are buying, their attention span is so short that visually we have to grab their attention immediately. So visuals are really, really important. This isn't to say that your sales copy and your title are not important. They absolutely are crucial. And I've written more sets of sales copy than I can count. But just for the purposes of the presentation today, we're just going to talk about visuals. So why do your visuals matter? So shoppers are time poor, as I said, so it's really, really important to grab their attention straight away. If they haven't within 3 seconds decided that they want to stay on your listing, the chances are they're going to go away. So really, really important to capture their attention straight away. Your visuals are really important in terms of informing customers. So, you could either write a block of text telling them about your product, or you could have really captivating visual with some infographics that can give them that information in a much easier to digest format. Next reason, strong visuals will keep people on your listing, and that matters for two reasons. The first one is, obviously, the longer they're on your listing, the more they're going to interact with your listing, they'll be more engaged, they're more likely to buy. But another reason, which is really important, and many sellers don't necessarily know this, is the way shoppers behave on your listing when they're shopping does send signals to the algorithm. So if people are kind of loitering on your listing for a bit longer, the signal that sends is that, you know, this is a product that has potential. So that means that your listing will get shown more often. Whereas if people are just having a quick look and then they're off, then the signal that sends is, well, maybe it's not worth our time showing this product, because ultimately it's all about everybody making money. And if it doesn't look like Amazon will make money from this, then they're not going to put the effort into showing your product, your listing. And then again, that's part of that, you know, the more you get shown, the more your listing will get picked up, the better your PPC is going to work. So lots and lots of reasons why visuals on your listing are really important. So the main visual components of a listing are your listing images, and then you have your video, and then you have your A+ content. So the listing images, we know it's your main image stack on the left-hand side, and then you can also include a video, then further down your A+ content. So let's talk about listing images and the different things that we take into consideration when we're building listing images. So listing images are more than just some random pictures. So before you start uploading any images to your listing, you really need to take a step back and plan it and think about it and figure out why you need those images and what is the job they're actually going to do. And then that's, you know, how you can create an optimized listing for your images. First question you need to ask is, what's the product for? That's key. People need to know when they look at your listing, why would I buy this product? What does it do? You know, people want to know. So for example, if we look at this product, which is some sort of learning cards for children who are learning to read, you know, first image is showing exactly what the product is. We've got some text talking about what the product is, makes it really clear why you would buy this product. And then, you know, what does it do? Here we're talking about one word per card, fun illustrations, easy to read, and it's a fun way to build strong foundations for reading and learning skills. So this is what the product does. Make sure that you're really very clearly communicating that with your images. And then more sort of images and a little bit of text communicating, you know, some of the features, some of the benefits. Again, something that you can use as a homeschooling aid, all of these things. What a lot of sellers do is communicate the features, but not so many of the benefits. So it's really important to draw a distinction between the two. So the features will tell you about the product. You know, they'll tell you it's durable, its dimensions are 18 by 18 or whatever, but the benefit is really what is going to sell the product to the shopper. So if you're telling them this product is going to help your child to learn to read in a really engaging and fun way, that's going to give the shopper the reason to buy your product. So really, really important to bear all these things in mind, and just make a list when you're creating your listing images, and just think of these points. What is it that we need to talk about? So that's listing images. And then the next thing is videos. Videos are, you know, when I first started selling on Amazon, many listings didn't have videos, and I was told, oh, you just do it with your iPhone, do something at home. these days it's a lot more sophisticated than that. So videos are very, very important in terms of kind of creating that emotional hook. And moving images are, you know, they capture people's attention. They keep people on your listing for a lot longer. So again, in terms of helping with conversions, helping your listing get shown more, really important to make sure you've got videos. You can show the product in use, you know, that sort of element of desirability, the lifestyle. They're a fantastic way to communicate all of that to shoppers as they're going through listings. And then last but not least, A+ content. I did another presentation earlier this morning, actually, which was purely focused on A+ content. And this is a topic completely in and of itself that you can talk about for a long time. Most of you know what A+ content is, but I'm still amazed at how many listings I see that don't have A+ content. So it's a space that's right at the bottom of your listing, which is extra space where you can use rich visuals and just kind of space to communicate with the shopper, more information about your product, talk about your brand, tell them more about features, benefits, some question and answer modules. There's so much that you can do with A+ content, and a lot of sellers are just not using it, which is complete waste. So these are the main sections, kind of visual sections of your listing. So what we'll do is, before I sort of talk about you know, listing, A+ content, premium and basic, what are the differences? Probably a good idea would just have a look at some live listings, and then we can go back to those. So this is a listing for a wooden puzzle. So I just want to show you a listing where, you know, the listing images are doing their job, and then show you another one which is perhaps not as strong. So you have your main image here, and then some other images. So, you know, combining visuals with not a ton of text, but some text to inform the shopper, and with some graphics and some details. So for example, the big selling point with this product is that it's wooden, and the pieces are sturdy and durable, and they're not going to warp. So highlighting all of that, and then talking about, you know, the fact that the product is giftable, highlight that. That's something that we always like to show, that a product, if it's giftable, we like to shout about that because it's always a great selling point. This product, it comes with a mounting kit, and you can turn it into a piece of wall art and put it on your wall. We're talking about that, you know, highlighting that. And, you know, it's really important, include the dimensions, because the more you're removing uncertainty from your listing, the more likely you are to get a conversion, the less likely you are to get returns, and the less likely you are to get negative reviews. So if somebody looks at this product, they're not going to think, I wonder how big that puzzle is. They can literally get a tape measure, have a look and see how much 16.5 inches is. So they know exactly what they're buying. And, you know, lifestyle, talk about, show the product in use, create that connection so people can relate to it. Really important to show faces and expressions. So, you know, here you can see people they're having fun, you know, they're smiling, they're happy, they're sharing this fun activity, making a puzzle. And again, just highlighting details like the pieces that are unique shapes, which is fun. And again, with icons, talking about some of the benefits, you know, like this product is great for just keeping the brain working, and problem solving skills. And again, you know, showing the product in use. It's a great way to relax doing a jigsaw puzzle. So it's something that can be a shared activity, as in the previous slide, or it can be something that you can just enjoy on your own if you just want to have a little bit of time to relax. So these listing images, you know, have been planned and thought out, and, you know, I would class them as good listing images. And then I would like to show you this. I found this listing this morning, which I thought was really interesting, because we are on the US site at the moment, and these listing images are in German. This is like a really big faux pas. I'm just absolutely stunned, because I'm used to seeing this the other way around, where a UK or a US seller is selling in Europe and they haven't translated, they haven't localized their listings. But to see a German language listing on the Amazon US store is quite interesting. So in these listings, it's just products. You can see there are no human beings. They're just literally just showing the product. So the contrast between the previous ones, where you can see them in use and it makes the product relatable, you're not getting any of that on this listing. So you know, it's great that they are giving you some information if you can understand German and you can read that, but yeah, they're not, that I would say that they're still leaving quite a lot of money on the table with this listing. I think it could be done a lot better. And there's another one which is even better as an example of a contrast. So here with this listing, there is nothing. There are no infographics. There's absolutely nothing. There are just some images of the box and just some random pieces of the puzzle. So definitely wouldn't recommend this as a you know, as a guide as to how to build your Amazon listing. So I hope that helps to illustrate basically between what's a good, a middle, and a not so great listing in terms of listing images.
Latosh, I was gonna ask if real quick, do you have a rough like framework for like what out of your, you know, your hero image and then your 4 or 5 kind of secondary images, what the kind of makeup should be? You know, I know we talk about like obviously the hero image has to be, you know, main image of your products, right?
Yes.
Then we get into kind of the next 4 or 5 pictures. I know everyone has a slightly different take, but do you normally try to maybe do like 2 images that are like truly based on lifestyle, like a lifestyle kind of take on the product, and then maybe like 2 images that are like truly just about feature benefit? I don't know. Do you have like a rough framework for that? And of course, it will probably depend on the type of products you have, but
yeah, it really depends on the product. So like for a jigsaw puzzle like this, it's very lifestyle-y. Where we're working with a technical product, then there's more of that sort of less, you know, then you'll have a couple of images that are more sort of just very technical. But with a product like this, which is very much lifestyle, you know, most of the images will have actual human models in them, because you're showing the product in use.
sure.
Yeah, so it really depends on the product.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah.
I have other questions. I will save them for till later though.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I can show you a video. Is it going to be quite loud, or shall we skip and go to A+ content?
I'll leave it up to you. I mean, I'm fine either way. Was going to ask you a question about video as well, so but I'll let you decide.
Okay, all right. I just turned the volume down a little bit. So let's have a look at of a video, an example of a video. So that's the way that we would do a video, kind of combining a lifestyle element, making the product desirable, but also showcasing the features, everything rolled into one. And the idea is to just captivate the shopper's attention with the visual side, but also with the music, and with the taglines, just keep them engaged. So really, really important, I think, to have that video on the listing, because you go through all the listing images, you can look at the pictures, read the text, but then just having that moving image. I mean, we all do it, you know, when you've got the TV on, you're looking at the screen and it's hard to tear yourself away from that moving image. So so having the video is a great way of closing the deal, as it were. You know, if people weren't 100% when they've looked at your listing images, then they're going to watch the video and think, actually, I'm going to buy that. So yeah, so that's video. Any questions, anything on that, Ben, or should I just carry on?
Well, I have one, and again, I'll just remind anyone who's watching right now, feel free to drop any questions as we go. My one kind of comment, I guess, slash question, and I've had a couple of their conversations recently around this, is just like, even beyond the, you know, the obvious that having video is going to drive more conversions for your product. The other thing is that's really important to keep in mind, and Fatos, can you actually click on the video again? I just wanted to show this off, but if you notice on listings, there's actually that section that says related videos on the right hand side. And if you can pause, okay, there we go. And I was just gonna say that's a really key thing. And I remember when I was more on kind of the agency side, and we were, you know, recommending things to clients to kind of defend their listings. One of the top things that we'd recommend is like, make sure you at least have a video for your own products, right? Because if not, what's going to happen is, I don't know if it actually happens here. Well, I guess it does since we see it, but the related videos section, it could potentially fill up, if not, you know, with customers leaving reviews about your product, competitor videos will get slated in there, and especially on the below the fold area. So I think it's under the A+ content, right? It'll show videos from about this product, which hopefully you have yours, and then maybe you have 3 or 4 from customers that are like review videos. If you don't have those filled in, though, you have the chance that competitors get their videos slated in. So that was just a really interesting takeaway that I had, and just something I wanted to call out.
Yeah, definitely. And now that you can have video on your A+ content as well, definitely use that. So as many videos as you can add into your listing as possible is great. Just use that for sure. Yeah.
Love it.
So then the A+ content, as I said, is You know, you scroll all the way down to the bottom of your listing, all those ads, and there's more and more and more of them showing up all the time. And it's the section at the bottom where it would previously have been your product description, that is where your A+ content goes. So there are different types of A+ content. There's basic and there's premium. So the puzzle I showed you previously, the A+ content they have is what we would call basic A+ content. So this is, you know, what all brand registered people used to have, but now there's premium A+ content, which more and more people have access to. And there's quite a few advantages. There are a lot of, you know, features to premium A+ content that make it way superior to basic. There are a lot of people who are not even using it. So again, this listing here, they haven't used their A+ content space, which is such a waste because it's free. You know, Amazon doesn't charge us for having this space, and we can have so much extra. There's so much more space to talk about our product here. So this is a complete and utter waste. So here, first difference between premium and basic A+ is you can see that the size of the modules is much, much bigger. So the width of the screen that this is taking up as premium compared to this, which is basic, you can see this is much smaller. And that's important on desktop, but it's also really important because so many people are shopping on mobile. So if you've got more space taken up on the screen, you know, it's going to be bigger when you're shopping on a mobile phone screen. Just having more there is really, really helpful. So that's one of the first pluses for premium A+ content. Another thing that's great with premium A+ is that you can have this seamless journey. So the modules all blend into one. So, you know, this is a collection of modules, but nobody can see where the module one ends and the next one begins. Whereas on basic, you can see that there's definitely a division, and it's more blocky. And it's, you know, you lose the shopper's attention. They're not as engaged because it's not such a seamless journey to scroll down to the bottom of the page. So that's another advantage. There's lots of interaction points on premium. So the more people can interact with something, the longer they're going to stay on your listing. It's just like when you're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook on your phone, when there's something where you can click on it and it takes you somewhere else, you end up spending a lot longer just sort of scrolling through. And the same is true here. So for example, for this puzzle brand, you know, here there's a few examples of their different designs, but then with a carousel, what you can do is you can scroll through and look at different collections. So the carousels are essentially giving you even more space because each one of these slides is like an extra module. So on top of your 7 modules that you have, you've got all this additional space, which is fantastic. Another thing that you can do with A+ content is to add videos. So for example, here, and there are different types of video modules, but here you don't even see this. There is a video hiding behind this slide. So all you do is you click here and it will play the video. So what we were talking about previously about having video on your listing, there are even more places where you can implant a video on your listing with A+ content. And there is also a module where you can have multiple, you can have sort of like a whole series of videos in your A+ content. It's a different module to this one that we're looking at the moment, but that's fantastic. If you've got a lot of UGC and you have lots and lots of videos, you can just include all of that in your listing. So the shopping journey's much, much more interactive. Another thing that you can do is use hotspots. So these again are interaction points, you know, particularly if you like this product, this brand selling skincare products, you can cross-sell all your products. If somebody maybe started searching for vitamin C and then they started scrolling down and they think, well, hang on, there's a cleanser that goes with it, or there's a serum, the chances of you getting an additional sale are much, much higher. So all of these interactive features on A+ content are fantastic for increasing your sales and conversions. So, you know, none of us know the exact numbers, but A+ content, basic A+ content, can increase your conversions by between 3 and 10%, whereas premium is seen to increase your conversions by up to 15%. So really, really worth investing in premium A+ content. And you know, it doesn't cost you a penny to have it once you're eligible to have it, and that's the case for pretty much all brand owners now. So that's A+ content.
Yeah. I was just going to chime in and say, I remember working with a brand too that was in Amazon Launchpad. And this was about 3 years ago. And at that time, to get the premium A+ content, which is now so much better than even a couple of years ago, you had to pay a fee of, I think, like to be in Launchpad or some similar program with Amazon. And it was like 3% of your sales was the fee. It was something like pretty, I thought, ridiculous. I mean, you know, not to knock Amazon, but like they sell it very hard, right? In terms of like what you would get out of it. So my point being is like, now it's cool that they've unlocked this as like a standard feature, and it's something like, as with anything on Amazon, like you should take advantage of, like they're giving it to you, you should take advantage of it, especially before they start charging again. So yeah. Love this.
Exactly. So I get asked a lot, how do I become entitled to it? What are the eligibility criteria? It's pretty simple. So you need to have, for anybody who doesn't know, you need to have brand story, which is this part of your listing here. It sits above the A+ content. You need to have this uploaded on every single one of your ASINs. And it's very easy because you only create one set of brand story content and then you just copy and paste all your ASINs into it. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. And you need it is less now, but it used to be you need to have 15 sets of A+ content submitted and approved within a 12-month period. But it is less now. I think it's gone down to 3 or something, even though Seller Central still says 15. But yeah, so you know, pretty much every private label seller has access to this now, and I would definitely say you're losing out if you're not using it, for sure. So that's basically, you know, listing images, videos, A+ content, the main visual elements of the listing. And I think we've covered them. I have these on the slides as well. The different types. So the things that are only on premium. So videos, like I said, are only on premium. These ones here, premium video image carousel. Here you can have multiple videos, like I said, where you have UGC or lots and lots of different videos. Maybe you have like an instructional video. These modules are great, so you can have lots of videos in them. Navigation carousels, which I showed you, where you can click and scroll through. There are different ones here that you can use depending on your needs. So there's lots of options there. Hotspots, which I showed you with the skincare listing. Again, hotspots are premium only. Q&A is great. lots and lots of benefits to using Q&A. Again, removing uncertainty. So preemptively knowing, you know your product, you know the things that people may be concerned about, or things they may want to know about it. Like, they may want to know, is this product vegan? So this is a great space where you can preemptively answer questions to remove any kind of barriers to people maybe sort of holding back from making the purchase. So it helps boost your conversions for that reason. But also, similar to the point I touched on earlier, if people know what they're buying, then they're less likely to return it, because they're not going to have a surprise when they receive the product, and they're not going to leave you a bad review if people are saying, well, I thought it was much bigger and it arrived and it's really small and I don't like it. You're sort of avoiding that happening if they know really very clearly what they're buying. Comparison charts. This is another one which is really cool for premium. So, you have a basic comparison chart that you can use with basic A+ content, but with premium, you've got interactive ones where you can scroll through, you can click on things. All of these interactive elements keep people on your listing for longer. That's the target. Keep them on your listing for longer. They're more likely to buy. Yeah, so I think that's probably it in terms of me, kind of my monologue.
No, that was amazing. I think there's like, it really is just, knowing that you have really the three areas to focus on, right? Like your main images, then it's, are you actually utilizing video and A+ content? And then it's just knowing what to do for each one of those. Seemingly simple when you say it like that, right? But it's definitely, there's a lot more that goes into it than just that stuff. So I think I have a couple of questions in terms of, this was kind of a question I always had personally, and I when I was starting out as a private label seller, and still get from time to time, even though we, at Seller Candy don't do any kind of listing optimization or graphic design related stuff, but is, what kind of budget should you be allocating to actually go and get this stuff done? I think in the past, it used to be, probably when you and I both started in the Amazon world, you really could get away. I remember like my first private label product, I think I legitimately copied images from the manufacturer's like website listing, and probably didn't get, I think it took me like 6 months before I got any more graphic design work done. Now that would not fly at all. You really have to invest. But I guess my question is, like, do you have any kind of rough framework, or kind of, I guess, what can you say a budget should be when you're looking at launching a new product or on Amazon for your imagery? Kind of a loaded question, but
it depends on your product. Again, like, for example, if it's something that doesn't have any moving parts, it's a lot easier. So I would say, you don't have to spend like masses and masses of money. Like, I would say for sort of good still images, some graphics, and a simple video, you can get away with, sort of, as a starter, let's say up to about $1,500 to $2,000. But if you want something premium, you need to spend a little bit more. But the sums are not frightening. I think a lot of sellers are put off. They think it's going to cost them multiple thousands of dollars to get a good listing, and it doesn't. It doesn't have to be that expensive. I think, with good graphic design, creative, somebody who understands the product, you can get away with a lot less. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. There's always, you can always spend more. It's harder to go the other direction though. Have you done or seen, now I know Amazon, at Unboxed, I know they did a big thing about it in the last like 24 hours or so, but this generative AI stuff that they're utilizing, I feel like it's not a webinar if we haven't mentioned AI or something else. So, but have you seen like any good examples or use cases of that? And I'm curious, I know that that world is kind of new and early, but Have you
Yeah.
tested any of that stuff? I know right now, I think the way that Amazon's implementing it is using generative AI to help with quickly spinning up creative for ads specifically, because
Mm,
obviously then, they want you to spend more money on advertising. A lot easier if they help you create
yeah.
the imagery you need to spend that money. But I'm
Yeah.
curious if you have had any personal experience with using any of this generative AI stuff, or is something that you'd recommend sellers incorporate or not yet? Yeah, just any kind of comments there.
Um, I tried it just to see what results I would get. And um it's not something that we are using.
Yeah,
So we do everything with live models on location. Um, I still think there's a little bit of a way to go with it. So I think if it's something really basic, um, you know, and you have got a very, very low budget, then it's better to do that than nothing at all. But we are not using it.
yeah.
So
Good to know.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done too much with it personally, but I've been starting to kind of mess around more and more with what is it, Dolly, and there's I know there's other ones out there, but that's one I've been messing around with just for
Yeah.
image creation. Um,
Yeah.
I think one of the questions that I had too, and you did mention it there too, but specifically for like A+ content, do you have, I asked for the kind of main images, what a good framework is, but do you have kind of a
Yeah.
very rough framework or kind of outline that you guys look to implement for A+ in terms of like, same deal, I guess, right? Like how do you properly illustrate the image, and the features, benefits, and incorporate some lifestyle, maybe call to actions in there, especially with A+. I think it's an interesting question because like normally who are the people that are getting to the A+ content and actually looking at it? Is the people that have gone to your listing, they've seen your main images, maybe read some of the bullet points. They obviously were not sold enough by that point though to go and just add to cart or check out, right? So they are then scrolling down and they're getting exposed to those competitors that are, either the ad placed competitors or the organic slots. So they're starting to see the competition coming in on your listing. A+ is obviously a great way to try to then capture that extra traffic and sell them a little bit further. But I guess my question is like those people are going to be needing that extra selling point, right? Like they're normally trying to get that little bit of extra information, which is why I love like the Q&A thing. To be honest, I didn't even know you could do that. So that I
Yeah.
learned that. But do you have like any good framework, I guess, when it comes to A+ content about what you should really be looking at for the elements there?
So you know, benefits, features and benefits and use cases. So because you have that much bigger space, you can have those bigger images, more zoomed in images, to give more detail. So we reverse engineer it. So before we shoot anything, we wireframe the A+ content and the listing images, and then we know what we need to show, and then we shoot those things, so we have them for the A+ content. But definitely showing things in use, things like ingredients. If you've got a product that has various ingredients, it's a great space to highlight those. For example, we worked on a soap product that had olive oil and cocoa butter and all these different things. It's a great place to kind of expand on what goes into a product. So yeah, definitely showing them in use and the features and benefits, like expanding on what's already in the listing images, and also things like again, removing doubt. For example, if it's an item of clothing, like a size chart, there's more space in your A+ content. So really detailed measurement chart. If you're selling a pair of ski pants or something, just have all the dimensions. How do you measure? Just give them that
Mm,
information, just so they can think, okay, well, I think this is going to be the right size, I'm going to give it a go.
sure.
um
Yeah.
yeah.
And that actually reminded me, one of the things that came to mind for me too, when you showed that the Q&A module that you can add is if you have, you're a seller that already has an existing listing you've had for a while, either you have had people come and ask those questions, in the ask a question section, or in reviews, people have asked questions or messages. Like that's a great way to find out what messages people are asking, to put either as an image or infographic, right? Or to, I guess, utilize that actual Q&A section for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the products that I sell is a pillow cover, and it's very clear in the listing. It says it doesn't come with the stuffing, it's just the cover. And we still got reviews, people saying, I ordered it and there was no pillow inside. And, just things like that. You can put it in your Q&A. Does it come with a pillow? No, it doesn't.
Yeah, those, I can imagine that's brutal. It's funny what people miss, even when you call it out, like 3 or 4 times throughout, like your image. So or your listing rather. So that totally makes sense. One other question that I have too is mobile optimization. I was talking to someone else about this maybe a week and a half ago, and this was a big learning lesson for me too, is like that's one of the biggest faux pas that I've seen, sellers still to this day who I talk to, asking them like, well, have you checked your images on mobile ever? And the amount of times I hear no as the answer is pretty insane. And, to be honest, I've made that mistake too. So it's hard, of course, I'm take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, because I make that mistake too. But that's a big learning lesson for me, and just something I would encourage everyone to do is going to mobile, since we know what it's like 50. I want to say it's like 50% of the shopping happens on mobile. I've certainly become more mobile first in terms of my Amazon shopping. My question that was I'm gonna unravel is pretty much what recommendations do you have, or is there anything different considerations you should think about mobile? I think Amazon still gives us the ability to upload for A+ content in different versions for mobile, or am I mistaken on that? I can't remember.
Yeah. So when we create A+ content for our clients, we create a desktop version and we create a mobile version. The sizes, the image sizes are different. So we do actually create a separate design, and to make it even more complicated, the module where you upload your video, even so, if you're uploading it on desktop, it's the full size, it's the big size. When you're uploading it on mobile, just the video module is the big size. So it's not the smaller mobile size. So when we're designing it, we have to make sure that the module that is going to house the video is self-contained, because when I showed you on premium, the modules are all blended into one, they're overlapping. If you have an image that is kind of continuing from one module into the next one, where you're going to have different sizes, it's not going to work. I don't know if I explained that properly. No,
I get it. Pretty much. You have to optimize and have a second version of the video as well, right? And then
no, it's so you have your desktop, all the modules are big.
Right.
Your mobile, all the modules are smaller, except for the video module. So even when you're on mobile, the video module that you're uploading is the bigger one. It's like the desktop one.
Oh, gotcha.
So
fun.
So you have to design the mobile. Well, you have to design the whole thing to make sure that wherever you are inserting the video is a self-contained module. Otherwise, it's like the jigsaw puzzle's not going to fit.
Okay, that makes more sense now. I get it. Fun considerations. Okay, this is why you need an expert like yourself.
Just to make it extra interesting.
I think, those are all the questions that I have. I know there's so much more we can get into in terms of like that, I'm always curious about the Amazon posts side of the equation, and things like the storefront, which I know Amazon's made bigger and bigger pushes to sellers, and to also, obviously, shoppers to utilize. But that might be for a version 2 of this webinar.
Yeah.
So, or maybe we can save it for something else. So I guess, if anyone has a last minute question, feel free to drop it right now. We'll try to quickly answer it. Otherwise, just while wait for that, Fatosh, where can people find you, or any kind of final words just about, yeah, how to get in touch with you if people here are looking for some kind of help with a listing or a new product launch or something of that nature?
Yeah, so first thing is we will do a 30-minute free listing audit for anyone who contacts us. So we're happy to have a look at the listing, give our feedback, and then if you want to go ahead and do that yourself, that's absolutely fine. If you want us to help you, then we'll be delighted. So our website is maxamaze.co, not .com. Somebody else has got that. So it's Maxamaze,
Amazing.
.co. Yeah. If you go to our website, then you know, there's a form there. It pops up. You can just fill that in, and we will come back to you, or you can book a call directly. Yeah.
Wonderful. I encourage everyone to do that, especially with the holidays here. I mean, now is a good time. I mean, I don't want to say it's too late, because it's already I can't believe almost the end of October, but
I know.
the reality is you should get your not only should you get your listings optimized when you launch them, but periodically should be looking at them to refresh things on the
Yeah.
listing, right? And optimize them further. And especially with things like your manager experiments and things like that. There's so many opportunities now where having additional content or refreshing your content is really, really important. So I encourage everyone to reach out to Fatosh. Beyond that, she's the nicest human being on planet Earth. So if you also just want to have someone very kind to talk to, I also encourage you to reach out. But yeah, thank you again so much for coming on the webinar today. It's really fun. And yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back for another round.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for having me. It's been really great, and thank you for your kind words.
Of course, anytime.